All right, calling to order the October 8th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting. All right, first item on our agenda is most likely accepting...
Adopting the agenda. Yep.
Adopting of the agenda. All right, so we need a motion.
I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second. All right. All in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed to adopting the agenda?
Say it like that.
All right.
I'm so excited.
Do we need to vote on this?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Next item on here is approval of minutes. Anyone want to do that?
I move that we approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Second.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes from September 10th, 2018? Aye. Any opposed? That one passes. Great. Next item says workshop goals. Is that going?
It is.
Good.
In front of your places, you have the this red booklet, and in case you can't see the PowerPoint slides very well that are being displayed, they begin on page 32 of the red booklet. So if you pick up the red booklet that's in front of your name tag, the slides were in your board packet, but if you want to look at hard copy, they start on page 32. You can follow along on your computer or with hard copy. Erica?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm excited to kick off our improvement journey. I'll be joined by other members of the leadership team to share where the district is, where we've been, and where we are, and where we plan to go. So our journey began over 2 years ago as we developed our new strategic plan. We started back in March 2016 with about 50 community members, business members, district leaders, and parents. They were a part of our original visioning group, and some of you at the table were also a part of that as well. With their work, about 55 district staff worked together on what we call the Connections team. We then held a symposium where we had about 700 community partners come and be a part of that. And we held 17 listening sessions over the summer of 2017 for teachers and parents, principals, students, and community members. And then Dr. Postlewaite and district leaders visited each and every one of our 86 schools to meet with principals and to discuss our plan, to hear our ideas, as well as we held listening sessions in each of the 8 constituent areas. We worked with our stakeholder cabinets. We had a parent cabinet, a teacher cabinet, student cabinet, principal cabinet, classified staff cabinet, and business cabinet. We had about 185 cabinet members, and these cabinets met quarterly last year, and we continue to meet with them this year. Our roundtable composed of our teachers of the year, and they contributed ideas and insights, as well as our principals. We met with them monthly, as well as our leadership team. In the fall, based on all of the input, we held several meetings of about 26 action teams, about 160 members. We refined our plan, and then in December 2017, you, the board, approved our strategic plan. And as you are aware, a few days ago, it was September 23rd through the 26th, we hosted the Advanced Ed team. They came in town, and we learned just this past Friday that Dr. Elgar will return to the district to share the results of our accreditation. So we are excited about that. That date is October 22nd. And just a little bit about our core beliefs and values. One of the significant things that we heard from all of our stakeholders was that, and our community groups, was that we needed to focus on students, and thus adopting our tagline that students are the heart of our work. You see our core beliefs and values there, which we've shared with you in the past. And now, as a district, we'd like to talk about the goals we're working towards and how we're measuring our progress. Should there be time at the end, we'll be happy to answer questions. You'll now hear from our other district leaders about the work that we all are doing together to increase our leadership, learning, and resource capabilities. and capacities. I now want to ask Ms. Michelle English Watson to come and talk about Goal Line.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As we began our journey a little more than 3 years ago, several significant areas for improvement were noted by our district, our schools, and our stakeholders. These included a significant opportunity gap, a noticeable achievement gap, and disenfranchisement of several stakeholder groups, which also included our teachers. In developing our strategic plan and initiating our advanced ed continuous improvement journey, we have sought to address these areas. And we're going to address each of these areas as we go through our slides. We would like to share our journey by sharing our work toward our strategic planning goals. There we go. So in goal, I'm going to jump to goal 1. Our stark achievement gap in literacy and numeracy led us to undertake several steps. As we implemented these strategies, we worked to provide the support needed in both schools and in the classrooms. Our targeted support and coaching in specific identified strategies and curricula with support from national experts and partners. We also used tools and measures, including the NWEA map and the adaptive digital content, such as ALEX and Achieve 3000. These are some of the results we are beginning to see using tools such as NWEA's map and our state's assessments, our state's readiness assessments to measure our progress. Here you will see the South Carolina Ready results for ELA, and our chart represents the gain. It shows that in the data you will see gains in 5 out of the 6 areas that are higher than the state. This is our math South Carolina Ready results, and the math gains are in 6 out of the 6 areas and are higher than the state. Our South Carolina pass results for science and social studies. Science and social studies, as a part of our state accountability system under ESSA, the state tested students in either science or social studies in grades 5 and 7. Grades 5 and 7 took social studies, and grades 4, 6, and 8 took science. CCSD students did better than the state average in middle school science. Social studies results were mixed. CCSD performed above the state in grade 7 and below in grades 5 combined. Okay. Math reading and math. Math is a locally selected assessment that we use to identify our areas of strength and weaknesses in our curriculum, progress monitor, and personalized instruction for our students. We have improved, we have seen an increase from our 2014-15 to our present data. As you will see there too, you have the achievement status and our growth status.
Yeah.
For our CCSD national top students, CCSD has a higher percentage of students scoring in the top quartile, our top 25% than the nation as a whole on math, reading, and math, on all grades combined. And CCSD has fewer students by percentile scoring in the bottom quartile. Of course, it is our goal to move everyone to the top quartile. Okay, I'm going to ask Sharon Randall to please join us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are seeing encouraging results through a more organized, system-wide approach to coaching, supports, and expectations. Principals and their staffs are expected to know and implement effective progress monitoring, data analysis, and differentiation to benefit students and to grow them academically. This approach has resulted in high growth in certain schools and with certain teachers. We want to drill down with those schools and with those teachers to understand exactly what their intentional planning was like so we can scale that across the district. We understand clearly that we have a long way to go to ensure every student in Charleston County is college, career, and citizenship ready, but we have made progress.
Displayed on the building of a local newspaper office in a small rural town in South Carolina is a sign that reads, "Often proud, sometimes pleased, never satisfied," which adequately reflects our work. We are often proud of how hard we work. We are sometimes pleased, but we are not satisfied and know we still have much work before us. The Learning Service team will come, and I think Robin is up next. Rich?
Thank you. So for goal 2, providing opportunities for students throughout Charleston County School District, you see our early college, high school, and new tech network. Next slide. I have that. Excellent. Some more highlights. We talk about world languages, what we're doing for gifted services. Also our arts expansion throughout Charleston County that we've discussed over the last several months. And of course, we know about career and technology education, academic employability training for a wide variety of those high wage, high demand, and high skill occupations. Here's a slice of career preparation in the CTE department. Completers, just FYI, a CTE completer is a student that's completed all of the required coursework. We've increased that over the last 12 months. Also included the over 4,000 students that were participated in some type of a work-based learning experience. It could be something as easy as a daily job shadow all the way through a 2-year apprenticeship and everything in between. Just today, we have 10 new interns at Boeing. Tomorrow, we'll have over 1,000 students at a career fair in North Charleston, the Convention Center with 60 business partners. Every day, something is happening for career readiness. The tens of thousands of students that are impacted by our career specialists and that are funded through EEDA, that's getting the children, the parents, the educators, and the business community linked up and getting students prepared for whatever their future will look like. And then of course, and then the last bullet real quick, last year was the first year that we have documented that we have met all the Perkins performance standards. Those are our CTE students scoring above and beyond in standardized testing, completion rate, grad rate, as well as non-traditional participation and completion. Non-traditional students taking coursework that they normally would not. I'll be followed by Ms. Michelle.
And goal 3, ensure a safe, supportive, and inclusive environment for every student. We're going to talk about Department of Guidance, early learning, expanded learning, special ed, and Title I initiatives. So in the Child Development Department of Early Learning, CCSD currently serves 2,225 students in 114 sites, 114 classrooms at 41 sites. So we are expanding our programs. Our Early Head Start program serves 152 students in 16 classrooms at 7 sites, and our Head Start program serves 877 students in 54 classrooms at 13 sites. They have piloted the World of Wonders literacy program in 11 schools, and the preliminary results are looking very positive. They're also promoting the social and emotional behavior with a focus for early learning in the early learning classrooms using the Second Steps curriculum along with the BESS BEST screener that was used in the CD classrooms. Our expanded program, our after-school program, Kaleidoscope and after-school partnership has partnerships in 45 elementary schools, serving about 5,000 students. Daily was a strong partnership with the City of North Charleston, CCPRC, College of Charleston, City of Charleston, Bowen, CP and Charleston Promise Neighborhood, Spaywall, Citadel, and Wings for Kids. Title I supports the epic summer programs in 10 sites, which uses a STEAM focus-based curriculum using our partnership with PCG. The Department of Exceptional Children, we have an executive learning, an executive director. You will meet her later, Beverly Hilke. And we are proud to announce that we have a executive director of Department of Exceptional Children, and they have provided full continuum of services for 4,885 students with disabilities district-wide. A new system is in place. Consists of the implementation of Wilson and iSpire curriculum, as well as a pilot on the Orton-Gillingham approach, which incorporates multi-sensory strategies to meet the needs of our students with reading needs and dyslexia. We're also putting in place the FAST Bridge is being implemented across the district to provide a consistent curriculum based on the measurement and progress monitoring tool. And in our Title I initiatives, we are still serving 45, 47 Title I schools within the district, high poverty schools within the district. We're also supporting 21 learning coaches, instructional coaches throughout our CCSD identified Title I schools. And we will now have to talk more about some of our Title I parent initiatives. Mary Ann Dieter will come.
Good afternoon. We have a very strong parent and family engagement programs throughout our Title I schools to support students and families. The programs that are listed here are either day programs or evening programs for our families to come and either are present at schools or they're at other areas, helping to learn how to support their students academically at home, as well as how they can be supportive partners with teachers and principals at their schools. And we often offer enrichment classes that go along with those programs, so the whole family comes. The children are there as well, continually receiving literacy and enrichment programs for the programs that they attend with their families. I think we have next is Jennifer Coker.
Hello.
So I just want to highlight some of the things that we've accomplished around school climate and culture. So we implemented in all of our 4K classrooms, as Ms. Watson mentioned, the Second Step program, and this year we've rolled that into all kindergarten classrooms. So we are currently training and beginning those programs in the kindergarten classrooms. With our PBIS initiative, we had every elementary, middle, and high school complete their tiered fidelity, which gives us an inventory number on how well they're implementing that. We continue to do those actually right now as we speak. In the fall, we're getting our fall scores, so we'll be able to compare implementation from last year to this year. We also completed a self-assessment on MTSS, our multi-tiered system of support, and that gives us implementation measures so that schools can create action plans to provide better services for their kids. And we're in the process of doing the fall SAM as well. We also, as you know, revised our progressive discipline plan and our code of conduct. And we're also providing teachers staff development on 8 effective practices in classroom management. We trained over 120 of them this summer before school began. And we continue those trainings as the school year continues. I also want to highlight that over 72% of our students actually had no discipline referrals last year. I said over 72%, is a little higher on that, which is very exciting. That's including any minor referrals like targets. So that's an important number to continue to watch. We've also increased, as we talked about, our participation in mental health and telemental health over the last school year. serving over 1,300 students with the Department of Mental Health, and increasing those numbers by 39%. We provided over 600 students and families direct support services from our social workers, and that ranges from truancy to actually needing help with electric bills and things like that. And we expanded our at-risk after-school meal programs and a summer feeding program. So we've really begun to support the climate of our students inside school and hoping to make some impacts outside of school.
Ms. Nichols?
Just the person who has no interest in accomplishments.
I have the honor of presenting Goal 4, which is from Human Resources, representing Chief William Brigman, who is not here today. But Goal 4 really has to do with implementing a pipeline that recruits, retains, and supports and rewards talented teachers, principals, and other staff, and make sure we have those folks in place in every school. And the first is our commitment to higher teacher salaries. And because of the support of this board, teachers did receive a salary increase. The cost of living and the salary increase averaged 4%, and it was a little bit higher than that for most teachers, making our teacher salaries highest in the state, I believe. Thank you to the board for that. Wonderful. And we want to continue that. The commitment is there to continue that 3-year phase in to ultimately get to the goal where our first-year teachers have a beginning salary of $40,000. Additionally, there was a proposed, there was an annual incentive put in for math teachers beginning this year of a beginning at $77,593 first-year teachers up to about $9,200 based on evidence for math teachers who agree to teach in identified high-poverty schools. So we're excited about the commitment to higher teacher salaries. Also, recruitment initiatives and partnerships, which helps with the retention and recruitment of highly qualified staff, and it's our partnership with the College of Charleston. They are now going to be looking for teachers in Charleston that want to add math onto their certification. We have a partnership with them to add that on to their certification, either in an add-on or in an actual master's degree. There's also a wonderful initiative with the University of South Carolina to have more teacher librarians certified, and that's been a really good, we opened this year with no teacher librarian or media specialist vacancies in the district. Teach Charleston is our local, approved by the state alternative route, committed to English, math, and science candidates who are committed to working in Charleston. And a new initiative, Teach Local, which is our partnership with early college, high school, and Trident Tech, and the College of Charleston to recruit CCSD students from early college to go into a teaching career. So we're excited about those recruitment initiatives to start now and carry well into the future. Also under this goal is the teacher effectiveness, which that office includes induction and mentoring and teacher evaluation. It's really to support our teachers so that they can grow and support our students. That's our basic charge in the Office of Teacher Effectiveness. Our induction and mentoring program is one of the best in the state. I think it's an absolute wonderful way that we train building-based mentors, and we have school-based mentors that provide support to our teachers new to the profession. They collaborate with the school leaders and use data, and our whole goal is to make those teachers successful so that they stay in the profession and create great things for our students. On the next slide talks about all of the many things that the mentoring program does, from a team of full release district mentors to managing the TIPS program, which is for induction teachers with monthly meetings to talk about, to network with other first year teachers and receive some professional development, and also building-based mentors. Again, we want to provide mentor support for our teachers so that they'll be successful. Those are some of the things that the mentor support does. Also in the area of the Office of Teacher Evaluation, is that we have a new evaluation system in South Carolina this year. It's called South Carolina Teaching Standards 4.0 Rubric. full implementation of this new evaluation system is this year. It's very holistic and extremely robust, and it promotes teacher growth and development through a coaching model. It's been very exciting to be involved in that. It's based on research-based strategies from the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching, and assesses professional practice in 4 domains, which is instruction, environment, planning, and professionalism. This new evaluation system requires that every administrator, every person who's going to evaluate teachers has to become certified. It requires 3 full days of training and successful completion of a certification test, which is administered by NIET, the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching. And so far, this might be a little bit higher now, but we have 285 school leaders have been trained and certified so far. It's a little bit higher than that since I put that slide together. This is also 2 other programs that are aimed at promoting retention and recruitment and retention of qualified staff, and it's the summer residency program. That's where novice teachers and master teachers work together, working with students in the summer for half of the day, and then collaborating with the teachers collaborate for the other half of the day. What's really exciting about that is it is a finalist in the Riley Institute's Walk South Carolina Award, and I'm not sure when that's going to be awarded, but I feel really great that I think we might win. That we've gotten a great so far. And then leadership development, we've been working with elementary, middle, and high school assistant principals and developing their leadership skills for those that want to either just improve their skills as assistant principals or become principals or other district leaders one day. We participated in training for all of our assistant principals are participating in the training for the new teaching standards. And the reorganization of learning services also has put more coaching and support for principals and teachers into the plan. So we're excited about all the ideas and things that are going on with leadership development. And now goal 5, Mr. King.
So good afternoon, board members. I have talked about goal 5, resources as well as compliance with the district's procedures and regulations. So in the fiscal year 19 budget, we being the finance team, worked with the academic team, with our finance committee to make sure that to the greatest extent possible, that we could align our resources to the strategies of the district. The academic folks as well as HR people recently, just a few minutes ago, I talked about what some of those goals were. For example, early learning. So we have resources allocated to that. We have resources allocated to the to teacher salaries, for teacher recruitment and retention, as well as resources allocated for equity, which I think Ms. Nichols talked about with the math teachers and trying to make sure that we had adequate salaries to keep those teachers retained. And so those are some of the examples of the alignment. The second bullet here, upgraded district bond rating. So we sell bonds, as you know, several times throughout the year. And if our bond ratings are by the 2 rating agencies, those ratings are good, that means the cost of borrowing is less. And so we had improvements in that this year based on some financial improvements that took place over the last couple of years. The third bullet here, increased budget for school safety and security. And so back in the early part of the year when we had the shooting down in Florida, we allocated in the budget around $3,000 to improve security here in CCSD. And then the last bullet here is around compliance. As you're aware, back in the springtime, we had some concerns expressed by the State Department of Education that we were not in compliance with some of our timekeeping requirements, and we made significant improvements there. As indicated in the graph to the right of this slide, the decrease means that we had fewer people not approving their time cards. And then this slide here shows the the history of fund balance. So on the left here, you see back a few fiscal years back, we had significant or inadequate fund balance. When the district got into financial difficulties a few years ago, that dip in the graph shows that we use fund balance to keep the district operating. And then over to the right of the graph, it shows over the last couple of years, we have recovered from that financial problem and the increase in the fund balance. So fiscal year 17, roughly $42 billion. The external auditors are wrapping up the financial statements for this prior year, FY18. We anticipate adding another 20-something billion dollars to fund balance, and that will come to the board sometime next month by our external auditors. And my last slide here shows the debt that the district is under right now. And the green line, arrow going down to the right, shows that as we go further to the right, that's in terms of years, our debt will decrease to the point of over in about 2030, 31, 32. We'll essentially be out of debt, and all that we'll have to do is to issue bonds for fixed cost ownership to maintain our buildings. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff Burrow, Chief Operating Officer.
So I've got 3 short slides covering really just the wave tops of our 7 departments and contributions that they've made toward support for our schools and our students. First up is capital projects. You can see the work that was done this past year on time and on budget. They've begun to map out that Phase 5 master plan, which will lead toward the next referendum, so that we're ready to go in 2020 for that program. Security emergency management, Don mentioned the additional funding that you all provided for programs that will be in place, begin to be put in place this year, but several other things have been done. Again, thanks to your fixed cost of ownership funding, we've begun and we continue on with camera system upgrades and electronic access upgrades in our facilities. And again, we're working toward implementation of that FY19 improvement plan. I do want to also mention that security emergency management did respond to every single emergency this past year as required. The next 3 departments, first up is transportation. Last year was relatively successful with getting kids to and from school on time, but even more importantly in a safe manner. Again, due to the fixed cost of ownership increases, we were able to replace camera systems or antiquated camera systems on buses, and we've funded Durham to install DriveCam, which provides us some feedback on driver performance so we can keep them safe on the roads. A lot going on in IT. Our new emergency operations center on the last slide. Part of that is the new data center, which is now up and running, and we hope that will lead to our business continuity plan, which means we'll have a backup system here hopefully this year with that new system in place at Bridgeview. One of the big items that was worked extremely hard this past year was reducing the number of camera and electronic system work orders. The backlog, you can see there, was reduced by 90%. We've got a really good plan in place to reduce the number that's outstanding. We've got 5,500 cameras in the district, so it is a full-time job. And then you see the last 2 bullets, other system upgrades they've made with UPS, as well as system displays in classrooms and replacement in our computer labs. Last up on this side is planning. Once again, we had another successful year. You directed us 2 years ago to implement a net zero program so that we're not losing money on utilities and custodial, primarily with out-of-district use, and we have done that. That keeps money in the classrooms. Last up, our 2 biggest departments. Facility management is number 1. You can see the magnitude of the work that they've done this past year. Again, thanks to your vision with capital maintenance, not only do we have money in the sales tax program, but we have the $10 million per year to get some of our projects that are on the backlog completed, and that has begun now. The number of work orders, staggering number of work orders. A big way we've approached them is through Ryan Cromps's Tiger Teams. We visit a school 4 times per year, each school 4 times per year for 1 week with a dedicated multi-trade force that actually complete work orders that haven't been called in yet, in addition to work orders that have been called in. Roof leaks have been decreased, and we've done upgrades to improve the climate and comfort at our schools with HVAC controls and LED lighting, and begun planning for future projects. On the cafeteria side, you can see the increases in student lunches and breakfast. That is above nationwide and statewide numbers, and that is not just free lunches, that includes paying lunches. We've seen an increase in those. We received an award from the Egg Board and also bring money in through grants to help not use our funds needed to run the program by getting money for fruits and vegetables. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Erica for goal number 6.
Thank you. Thank you. And so goal 6 is all about our continuous improvement processes to meet the needs of our students. And some of the ways that we're doing that is, I shared earlier in December 17, you approved our district strategic plan, and annually we're required to submit a state district plan and school renewal plans. And then again, most recently, just I think probably 2 days, but it's been about maybe 12 days ago, we had our advanced ed accreditation team here. And we found that through our stakeholder surveys, we had 8,000 parents to respond. About 70% of students who are eligible to take the survey and respond did so. About 90% of our teachers responded, and about 1,100 of our school-based classified staff responded to the survey. And we have all that information, and we definitely will use it to move forward and to improve on our processes. I'll now ask Ms. Michelle Simmons to come forward to share more about what we're doing.
Help me out, Erica. Very good. We recognize and acknowledge that principal effectiveness has the second largest impact on student learning, only behind teacher impact. And to that, we have prioritized our work with principals as a major driver of our continuous improvement efforts. And so we've structured our monthly learning community principals meetings to center around data analysis, the examination of case studies, as well as peer-led book reviews, including but not limited to. We believe that instructional leadership rests and resides with the team. And to that end, we've expanded those monthly meetings to include teacher leaders. And that's been very impactful and powerful for us to drive the work in the schools. We know that practice improves when it is open to public scrutiny. And so to that end, our principals utilize the Plan, Do, Study, Act framework, not only to drive their daily work, but also to be transparent and to share the data, the strategies, and the goals associated with their continuous improvement efforts. And finally, we believe that it's important to learn while we lead. And so we promote, we encourage our leaders to engage in professional learning opportunities at the local, state, and national level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
We're looking at continuous improvement processes and strategies that we're putting in place to improve, first of all, teacher retention in high poverty schools. We're also looking at improving academic achievement and also supporting the teachers, because what we were finding is that in our high-need schools, that we had a high teacher turnover. So part of that, in working with our partnerships with Meeting Street and other private practices, we were taking strategies that we feel that's going to work and it's going to make a difference in our school. One of the strategies is the co-teaching model. We have it currently in Burns and Sanders Clyde. We're looking to roll some of that out in some way or fashion at Chicora Elementary. Next, we're looking at additional coaching and support. We do that over the shoulder during the day, and also for some schools on the weekends, teachers volunteer to come in, or sometimes we pay them to come in during the weekends. The top talent paid to bring our teachers in to Top Talent School. This has made a difference, especially I want to speak personally of Burns, that we have 93% of the teachers that returned this year, unlike the years before. And I know that Sanders Slide had a great turnover rate, not turnover rate, sustained teachers also. Summer residency, Terry already spoke about that. When you're looking at some academic program, working along with our partners such as CPN and working with the SAFE grant and also working with the Office of School Transformation with the State Department, we are making sure that our students are getting what they need during the summer work, and we don't have that much summer loss. And the final thing is our partnerships, working with Meeting Street and other nonprofit organizations that support us as partners. Thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Erica.
Goal 7 is about communication, how we communicate student progress and seek feedback, and community partnerships to ensure success for every student. And so we've already talked that we've hosted our stakeholder cabinets. We host 6 cabinets quarterly. We started that last year, and we will continue this this year, actually hosting 2 of them this week. Also, as it relates to stakeholder engagement and partnerships, we continue to work with our school improvement councils. Every school that can have a school improvement council does have a school improvement council. We're working with our PTA and PTO organizations, and then of course continuing our partnerships with Trident United Way, March for Dimes, and others. We've been intentional about our engagement with our constituent boards to ensure that we definitely have a clear two-way communication with them, as well as a shared vision. Also, specifically about communications, we've seen more than a 60% increase in our Facebook followers. Today, we have 2,185 current followers. We also have seen an increase in our Twitter followers. We are deliberate in trying to tweet at least twice a day. And then, of course, using a variety of mediums to communicate, to include a focus on CCSD video stories. And we have enhanced our district and school-based websites. And then as it relates to grants, we were awarded 67 of our schools received grants last year, including the Jack Kent Cook Foundation grant, which supported Academic Magnet High School.
So goal number 8. By no means is this slide all-inclusive for all the initiatives that are being done within the district, but we're highlighting a few across the county that we've done. So we've done some work over starting with Lucy Beckham, building that school out. To try and increase system-wide equity, we took a look over at District 3 and Camp Road. A decision was made a while ago to combine the 2 schools, James Island Middle School and also Fort Johnson, into one school, which leads to more educational opportunities for those students. And also, if you look at District 4, there's a Liberty Hill STEM initiative that's ongoing now. It started last year, and we're continuing on with that initiative this year. It's through a Boeing grant for about $150,000. Now,
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So, you've been presented with 8 goals, and now it's I'm sorry, did I go the wrong way?
Vicki had already forwarded it.
There you go.
Got it. I'm sorry, now it's time to look at what we have learned. Obviously, my role is a little bit different than a lot of these other departments in the system, and I offer as much support to them as I can. But the 2 of the big things that we are working on are obviously the Clemson Diversity Study, which Attorney Lee Gill and his team from Clemson University came and did that study for us. Major findings, of course, is that we need to close the gaps in performance and achievement. I don't think that's anything new to this board, but it was pointed out in the study in addition to all the other things listed, and some of the things which you've already mentioned, including the Charleston Shared Futures Project, which Mr. Kennedy and some folks are leading, and hopefully to get us some scenarios to where we can look at what a possible future looks like for Charleston County School District. Thank you.
So something else that we've learned and is a continuous point of improvement for us is our engagement with stakeholders. In my case, it's engagement with teachers. That we know we constantly have to pay attention to the fact that we don't make decisions in isolation from the experts who do the work. And in our case, that's teachers. So ways that we're getting at that work, and we continue to iterate that work, is we have the teacher roundtable, we have the teacher cabinet. This year, the teacher cabinet last year called out the fact that is there a way to make sure we have constant teacher voice at the district level? So this year, Mia Pace has joined the district staff in a fellowship position where she'll be with us for a year before she rotates back to her school. And the next teacher of the year will come. So there's constant presence of a teacher, an active teacher in district initiatives. We've also added a teacher leader, was last year's work. This year we're adding a school-based coach with principals at the monthly principals meeting. So there's now 2 people from each school who are there around that professional development, then taking work back to schools. My department has been reorganized, and that was an effort to get at more job-embedded professional development on the ground in schools with teachers. And so we have district-based instructional specialists who support the school-based coaches in the schools. And then Jennifer Coker's team continues to roll out work with teachers and students and principals around the social emotional learning and positive school climates and cultures.
All right, great day to you. So in addition to providing more opportunities for teacher voice and better support for teachers, another theme ran throughout our work on our system quality factors, and that was the need to more deeply engage our parents and our community members. So as you all know, we developed our dashboards, scholar dashboards, our school dashboards, and district dashboards in order to communicate progress. In addition, we held cabinets, like you heard earlier as well. We scholar cabinets, parent cabinets, and also our teacher cabinets to foster input from our community members and all of our stakeholders. But even though we've done all of that, we do see that there's a need to more deeply engage our community members and parents. So that brings us to why we all are here, our scholars, and placing them at the heart of our work. So it is our responsibility to create a learning culture that believes all scholars want to and can succeed. So in knowing that, we know that our scholars don't get a lot of do-overs. So because we know this, we have to make sure that we get it right. We have to get it right to break the cycles of poverty. We have to get it right so they have the keys to open doors to success. And also, finally, we need to get it right because this work is a blessing. We consider ourselves grateful and appreciative. We're very appreciative that we get the chance every day to change the lives of scholars. So, I didn't move the slides. I just started talking because I know what to say. I want to close with this final picture of the angel oak tree on Johns Island. So this tree has endured a lot. Lots of natural disasters, wars, other things that nature may not have been kind to it and done to it. But most of all, through all of this, the roots have remained strong and the branches have remained strong as well. Now, I want to talk about the branches that remain strong. There's a lot of history in those branches. A lot of history that some people may want to forget. History that if things would not have changed, I may not be here in this capacity right now in front of you. So in knowing about this history, I want to ask you all to do me a favor. I would like for you all to close your eyes. So I'd like for you all to close your eyes because when we close our eyes, we think about what we're doing. We think about things with more intention. So as we have our eyes closed, I want you to think about in your careers or in your just matriculating through CCSD in general, a scholar that you know of that may have possibly been in and out of trouble with the law. And now I would like for you all to think about a scholar that you may have known that, due to unnecessary violence, may no longer be with us. Now I ask you to focus on this for a particular reason. You may open your eyes. I ask you all to focus on that because I can only speak for myself, I'm getting to the point to where I feel it's very uncomfortable and not right to go to a funeral service and stand over the body of a scholar. And that brings me to tell you all, this is why we place such importance on educating our children. Because again, we know they don't get do-overs, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we don't ask ourselves when we're in those services, did I do enough? Did I do everything that I possibly could so this scholar would not be in this position right now? So that we don't have to ask ourselves that, we keep our scholars at the heart of our work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our presentation on the goals that we all set together to work on this past school year. I will tell you that, as someone mentioned, there are many accomplishments of which we're very proud. And there are a lot of areas that we still have miles and miles to go. But we have started this journey together. The thing in which I take the most pride is the team of leaders at the district and at the school who are beginning to come together. We didn't used to work across departments and divisions. It was difficult for us to articulate exactly what our work was and how one person's work interfaced with another person's work. It was difficult for us to point out exactly what was working, and more importantly, to talk about what we tried that didn't work. But we are dedicated to finding those aspects of the system that are creating accelerated growth, particularly for those children who most depend on public schools to get it right. And we are dedicated to committing to continuing that journey together. So you will have an opportunity to talk more about these results. There's a detailed table that gives you specific data and facts in the booklet that you'll be looking at during your executive session in special called meeting this afternoon. So thank you for allowing us an hour to review the results of the goals with you. There are 2 additional goals. There are 10 altogether that you approved in June as part of the evaluation process moving forward. Goal number 9 is the superintendent conducts herself ethically, and goal number 10 is about interpersonal skills, respect, authenticity with everyone with whom I work. So those are the other 2 goals that we won't be discussing publicly. So thank you for this opportunity to present, and thank you to the team for standing up always for children and for coming here today to talk about your work. I'm just extraordinarily proud of you.
All right, before we go into executive session, I do want to thank everybody here for everything you guys are doing. It's sometimes we hear just the constituent, one little issue here, one little issue there, but it's good to see the full picture. And I do thank you all for everything you're doing. I'd like to give them a round of applause for all they've done.
I'd like to piggyback on that because that's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you, everybody. And also, as you work as a team, then everyone knows what everyone's doing. And there's so much negative information being pumped out that's inaccurate and sometimes outright lies of what is and isn't happening here. I think that we now, as board members, can go out with this information. I like the way you presented it. So we can put the truth out there, or for our negative flip the board people or whoever's out there that's against us, they don't have this information. So I really appreciate your work for putting it together in one document and presenting it together. Thank you.
All right, I guess I'll accept a motion to go into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session to consider items covered by attorney-client privilege.
Need a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're in executive session.